Welcome back, everyone, to the next installment of Chaos Child. We're Serica, and we're back at Hekiho, and we're probably going to discover elements of our past. I finally made it to the entrance. I hadn't realized it, but my breathing was starting to quicken. I looked around, desperately searching my memories. But I'd never been here before, probably. For some reason, I recognized the smell. It was the smell of the school building. It felt much more like home than my high school in Yokohama. No, that was impossible. I was imagining it. All schools smelled the same. And then suddenly, I saw a vision in my mind. Just like yesterday. My heart pounded loudly. I was sure I'd never been here before, but I still felt a sense of déjà vu. I remembered what the guard said. He hadn't seen me for a while. Where was my uniform? Go inside, quick. Did I go here before the accident? Did that mean I was a student? No, a patient? But I didn't have Chaos Child Syndrome. I opened up the shoebox for guests and put my shoes inside. I decided not to wear slippers. It was possible I'd need to run out. I headed up the stairs to the third floor. The farther in I got, the stronger the sensation of déjà vu. I felt sick. No, I felt uncomfortable. It was like watching a movie I'd seen when I was a kid. I didn't remember the story or the ending. I couldn't think of the title or the protagonist's face, but I knew I'd seen all the scenes before. I could faintly hear what sounded like a teacher's voice coming from one of the classrooms. I just kept walking through the movie, and for some reason, I stopped. I was in front of a second-year classroom. Why had I stopped here? Why had I come straight up here in the first place? It was a very strange feeling. I could hear a teacher's voice from within, holding class. Suddenly I got scared. The air felt heavy, like it was threatening to crush me. My heartbeat sounded very loud. My hand went for the door as if pulled by an unseen force. More déjà vu. I knew how this door felt to the touch. I remembered. I wasn't imagining it. I suddenly heard a voice from within. A voice I remembered well. It was a voice I remembered well, but one that made me want to cry. No, don't open it. Don't open the door, Onoe. By the time I finished the thought, the door had slowly opened. Whoa! I froze. I did not expect this. All the eyes were upon me. They were looking at me after I'd suddenly walked into their classroom. My eyes locked with all of theirs. The old woman closest to me smiled. Her wrinkly lips shone with lip gloss that didn't fit her apparent age at all. All the hairs on my body stood on end, and I shot out of there like a bullet. I ran down the hallway. I kept running. What was that? What the heck was that? I'd seen yesterday what Chaos Child Syndrome was. But still, this didn't make sense. With all those patients there, how could nobody realize? How could none of them realize that this wasn't a school? This place was weird. It was definitely weird. They all wore normal uniforms and took normal classes. What was the point of making all of them live normal human lives? No, I was never part of this. I had to be imagining it. My chest started to burn and I stopped running. But I still couldn't stop myself from walking as fast as I could. And then I realized again. Why had I come up the stairs? If I wanted to run, I needed to go down. I could see the building next to me from the window. I must have gone up about 2 flights of stairs. I looked behind me. Nobody was chasing after me. No one was making a fuss. I was safe. I'm assuming we just were deluded. I saw another vision in my head. I felt dizzy. I staggered over to the wall to stop from falling over. It was the same as yesterday. I saw a vision of something I was sure I'd never seen before and started to pass out. I happened to see a certain club room. Of course, which club it was I didn't know. I'd never been here before. But I knew. This room was special to me. I moved away from the wall and slowly went toward the door. I heard a sound from within the room. Get out! Is that Kazuki? Was someone in there?
おい、やめろって。あれなんとかしてくれよ、副部長。
またやめなさいってもう。ほら、すりむいてるじゃないの。救急箱を取って。
は？待ってくれよ。今このニュースサイトのソースをだな。
早くしなさい。
はい。
The voices I heard made my chest ache and burn. For some reason I started to cry and my vision blurred. I hadn't heard any of these voices before, but I remembered them. At some point I put my hand on the door. I slowly opened it. There was no one inside. I'd heard the voices until I opened it. I slowly closed the door and went inside. I ran my finger along the desk and looked at the things in the rest of the room. There was no one here, of course not. No one was here. The room was a mess. There were piles of papers, books, and DVDs everywhere, and cardboard boxes stacked on top of each other. There were several scrapbooks on the shelf, and all of them said Hekiho Academy Newspaper Club Article Archive on the front. I was sure of it. This is what I'd seen a moment ago. I touched the map on the corkboard. In the center was Shibuya Station, so this was a map of Shibuya. There were photographs and newspaper articles pinned to it, along with memos that were probably made by the club's members. But the stuff on the board made me feel sick. There were pictures of bodies and things. And wait, wasn't this... I didn't remember it, but... this was the return of the New Generation Madness that had taken place in Shibuya before the Restoration Festival. The map was a summary of the case. I carefully searched the map for any clues to my past. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Again with that ghoul, what the hell? I found a photograph pinned up away from the others. This is surreal. What is up with these visions? It was of me. I was smiling. And I was wearing this school's uniform. That's a terrifying thing to discover when you don't know what's going on. It was the same uniform the old people, the patients, had been wearing. And the person smiling next to me was... I heard myself whisper. I wasn't asking the question to someone I'd never met before. I'd known this person from somewhere. Who was this old woman with a kind smile? I realized I was yelling. Whether I was yelling at myself or at her, I didn't know. By the time the sun had almost set, I had finally made my decision.
Yosh.
I knew the place from the business card I'd been given before. There was no point in just thinking about it. I wanted answers, and at this rate it was making me feel sick. We're going to Freesia? I pulled up a map of Shibuya on my phone and started walking.
来ちゃったのね。 生活費の振り込みは3日後よ。
Momose, my guardian, didn't scold me for breaking my promise. She sighed, sounding slightly exasperated. I'd been scared she'd get mad, so I was a little relieved.
いえ、それは分かってます。そうじゃなくて。
まあ、入りなさいな。コーヒーでいい？
はい。
It had been a while since I'd seen her, but part of me didn't really know how to deal with this woman. She was normally so relaxed, but she could suddenly get scary. There was a strength about her that you couldn't resist, maybe. If she told you to do something, you did it. Excuse me, I said, as I timidly entered her office. Inside, it was a normal office. I craned my neck to look around. Her business card said Trustworthiness Investigation Company. That meant she was a detective, I knew that much. From what I'd seen on TV, I thought detective offices were supposed to be messier, so I was surprised to see just how normal it looked.
はい。
どうも。
I took a sip from the coffee she offered me. Come to think of it, I hadn't had anything to eat since I'd run out of Hekiho Academy this afternoon. I hadn't felt like eating at all.
それで渋谷には来ないようにって言っておいたわよね。
Ugh, she had. I tried to focus. I needed to get answers today.
それは謝ります。でもどうしても知りたいことがあって。
I told her as much as I could about everything that had happened since yesterday. Momose listened quietly, occasionally sipping from her coffee. She didn't bat an eye even when I told her how I'd collapsed or snuck into Hekiho. She has the ultimate poker face, considering she must know who we are. I got a little mad as I started to talk. Momose knew something about my past, and whatever it was, it had something to do with Chaos Child Syndrome and Hekiho Academy. Otherwise, she never would have told me not to come to Shibuya. I took something out of my pocket like a detective confronting a suspect with crucial evidence. Momose's expression changed. This is driving me crazy. Like, is something interfering with our brain to make us see these people as old? Or is this what they really look like? It can't be, right? And it wasn't what I thought it would be. Did she just chuckle? Why?
これ、私ですよね。どう見ても。
I pointed to myself in the picture. I felt bad about it, but I'd borrowed the photograph from that room.
隣の人、誰なんですか？それに、なんで私はあの施設の制服を着てるんですか？私って上京した日に、復興祭の日に、生まれて初めて渋谷に来たんじゃなかったんですか？
The guard at Hekiho had known who I was. And I had felt that sense of deja vu when walking through the halls. It was my first time there, but my body had moved on its own. And then there was what they'd said to me in that second-year classroom. Welcome back. Ugh. That's terrifying.
もしかして私あそこにいたことが。
あなたはどう思ってるの？言ってみてどう感じたの？自分は碧峰学園にいたことがあると思った？
I wasn't sure.
わかりません。でもなんていうかすっきりしなくて。初めて行ったはずなんです。碧峰学園っていう名前も昨日初めて聞きましたし、カオスチャイルド症候群の人の収容施設だっていうのも初耳でした。でもあそこにいると何かを忘れているみたいにずっとモヤモヤして。
In the photograph, I was wearing my uniform and smiling. The old woman next to me must have been a friend. I was friends with someone with Chaos Child Syndrome, and I was wearing the uniform. Did that mean that I was also?
もしかして私、カオスチャイルド症候群だったんですか？その影響で記憶をなくしてしまったとか。
それは違うわね。
Momose told me I was wrong.
今のところ症候群から回復した人は一人もいないのよ。表向きはね。
表向き？
Momose got out a pen and started to write something down on a notepad.
渡す前に念のため確認させてちょうだい。あなたはどうしても知りたいのね。
She was testing me. But of course I wanted answers. I wanted to know about my past and the memories I'd lost.
はい。自分のことですから。
そうね。自分のことですもんね。
The paper had an address and a name on it.
悪いんだけど、私の口からは何も言えないのよ。というか、何も言えないって口にするのも、実はギリギリアウト。
Yeah, I am wondering why she's doing this. You'd think everyone would just stay as far away from this as possible. Who the hell is she gonna send me to? Kunosato? That's gonna end terribly. Wakui, if he's alive?
でもまあ、これくらいは許してもらわないとね。とにかくそこへ行って聞いてごらんなさい。まずはそれから。
はあ。
Shinjo? It felt like she hadn't told me anything like usual, but I had no choice but to go there. I gulped down the rest of my coffee, which had gone totally cold, and stood up.
あ、そうそう。一人暮らしは順調かしら？
Momose chased after me once I left the building.
はい。まあ、それなりに。
お金、使いすぎちゃダメよ。
The crepes I'd eaten yesterday flashed through my mind.
お小遣いと生活費はちゃんと分けてますから。
ほら、しっかりしてるじゃない。友達はできた？
I thought of Aoi and Ayaka.
はい。
そう。なら、楽しくやれてるのね。
はい。楽しいですよ。
よかったわ。
If she was happy, then why did her eyes seem a little sad?
それじゃあ、体に気をつけてね。縁があったら、また今度。
Someday. That was a strange way to say goodbye. What did that mean? But everything she said always sounded kind of ominous. There was no point in thinking about it. Ugh.
はい。また今度。
I left Frisia. And by late afternoon, I'd arrived at my destination.
ここって確か。
Oh, hello. The address on the memo sheet was for a hospital in Yoyogi. A.H. Tokyo General Hospital. I thought I'd heard the name before when I'd seen the memo, but it was only when I actually saw the building that I remembered. About 3 months ago, the police had run a search here. Everyone had been talking about it to the point where I knew about it even though I didn't watch the news. They'd been committing all kinds of medical malpractice, which they hadn't reported at all, and they'd been making illegal donations to politicians for years to cover it up, something like that. And they were linked with some weird cult, and instead of treatment, sometimes they'd make patients undergo weird rituals.
怖い病院だな。大丈夫なのかな。
I was pretty sure I'd heard that all the managers and doctors involved had been arrested, and any ties with the cult had been severed. It was supposedly a completely new hospital now, but still.
大丈夫。行っちゃえ。
I spoke loudly to cheer myself up and went inside. Most of the hospital must have been closed for the weekend because the lobby was almost empty. But visiting hours hadn't ended yet, and no one stopped me as I walked through the halls. Come to think of it, the paper I was given only had a name. I didn't know if it belonged to a doctor, a patient, or maybe even a nurse.
すいません。
I spoke to a nurse at the nurse's station.
はい。どうしました？
Huh. Who could this be? Who could we be looking for?
ですね。この人ってここで働いてたりしますか？
Uki wouldn't still be at the hospital. That doesn't make sense. Who in the world? I showed her the name on the memo. It can't be Takaru. They can't just let me in. That was a restricted place. The nurse nodded.
失礼ですけど。あ、尾上と言います。久野里さんのお知り合いですか？
Oh ho. Does she work here then?
なんていうのか。 そうだ、百瀬さん。百瀬さんの紹介と言ってくれればわかります。
The nurse nodded again and reached for the phone on the desk. She spoke on the phone with someone for a moment.
お待たせしました。お会いになるそうです。5階の精神科へどうぞ。
精神科？
ええ、普通には入れないので注意してくださいね。エレベーターを降りるとすぐに扉があります。脇のインターホンを押してください。担当看護師がご案内します。
わかりました。ありがとうございます。
I headed for the elevator like the nurse said.
あ、ちょっと。
はい？
The nurse glanced around to see if anyone was listening and leaned toward me. She was whispering.
久野里さんとは初めて会うの？
She's pretty abrasive.
はい。
気をつけてね。ちょっと気難しい人だから。
I narrowed my eyebrows a little. For some reason, the nurse said, "Good luck." Fair enough. I went up to the 5th floor and pressed the button to call the nurse who let me into the psych ward. I was told to go to the first door down the hall. Wait, I was going to a hospital room? I was sure she worked for the hospital.
患者さんなのかな？
If she is, then I don't understand how that would happen. There was a plate for patient names in front of the room, but it didn't say Kunosato, it was blank. I knocked timidly.
空いてる。
A gruff voice answered. Huh? Did I know that voice?
何してる？入るならさっさと入れ。
はい。失礼します。
I have no idea what to expect. I remember what the nurse had just said. She really did seem difficult. Or scary, more like. I fidgeted a little as I opened the door. The reason I thought I'd heard that voice before was that I had met her several times. Sometimes she'd come to visit me with Momose when I was in the hospital after my accident. Oh, okay. I hadn't asked her name. I guess it was Kunosato then. Kunosato was sitting at her laptop typing at an incredible speed. With how dark the hallway was, and with the green light in the room, I didn't know if she was a patient or what, even though that wouldn't make sense. She didn't even look at me.
どうして来た？
はい？
渋谷には近づくなと言われていたはずだ。
ここは渋谷じゃないです。代々木です。
なら、私がここにいるとなぜわかった？百瀬さんのところへ行って、居場所を聞いたんじゃないのか？
She's figured me out.
百瀬さんのフリージアは渋谷だ。ということは、やっぱりお前は渋谷に行った。ほら見ろ。私は忠告に従えないようなバカは嫌いだ。覚えておけ。
I now knew exactly why the nurse had wished me good luck. I spoke loudly to keep up with the sounds of fingers hitting keys.
ここへ来たのは、どうしても知りたいことがあるからです。私の記憶のことです。
Gah, she was deliberately hitting the keys hard. I wouldn't lose, though.
これ。
I put the photograph I'd brought in front of her face, and she refused to look away from the screen.
碧峰学園の新聞部っていう部屋で見つけたんです。これについて何か知ってることがあれば教えてください。
お前、あそこに行ったのか？
あ、
Is she gonna strangle us? It was only after she turned to look at me that I realized. Under her white lab coat, she was wearing... Oh yeah, a Hekiho Academy uniform, the same as in the picture.
おい。
But she doesn't look old. What the hell's going on? Kunosato suddenly stood up and got close enough to my face that we almost touched.
お前、あそこがどういうところか分かっているのか？何を見た？何をしたんだ？
何もしてません。
I quickly drew back from her. She was scary. I could almost hear the sound of my own heart racing.
あなたもあそこの生徒 じゃない、収容者の一人なんですか？
Ooh, careful now.
何？
Because that, I pointed at her uniform.
ち、
教えてください。もしかして私、あそこにいたんですか？どんなことでもいいんです。私の記憶の手がかりになることなら、どうしても知りたいんです。
Kunosato kept looking at me. She seemed annoyed. It was like she was trying to feel out what was in my heart.
百瀬さんは何と言っていた？どうせ百瀬さんにも同じことを聞いたんだろう。何と言っていたんだ？
自分の口からは何も言えないって。あとそれから、何も言えないっていうこと自体がギリギリアウトかもって。
なるほどな。あの人らしい。見事なタヌキっぷりだ。
あ、それはそう思います。
I found myself agreeing. Sly. That was the perfect word for her.
知りたいか？過去だよ。お前の。
はい。
Kunosato shrugged a little.
言っておくがな。私はお前のことに関しては何も知らないぞ。
But, like, did we not have the scene where we showed up to Frisia and confessed to all the murders? And we need to beat Sakuma? Like, what is happening?
お前と会ったのは、お前が事故で入院した病院が初めてだ。それ以前のことは、百瀬さんから聞いてるんだろう。
Impossible.
はい。
その写真のこともわからん。お前が制服を着ている理由もな。
でも、黒里さんはあそこの収容者なんでしょ？
I looked at the uniform she was wearing again. It was the same as the one I had on in the picture.
違う。あの施設では基本的に制服着用が義務付けられている。症候群者たちに怪しまれずに動き回るにはこの服が必要なんだよ。
じゃあ黒里さんは一体。
Interesting. So she's like a stealth student? That would explain why she has a full-time scientist job despite being a student. I guess she's not a student.
研究者だよ。カオスチャイルド症候群のな。
研究者？
ああ。
She tapped the laptop monitor with her fingers. It was filled with rows of tiny numbers and several images of what looked like human brains.
もしかして私も黒里さんみたいに何か特別な理由とかあったんでしょうか？その制服を着て写真に写ってるってことは。
いや、少なくとも私の知る限りお前を壁法で見た記憶はない。あと特別な理由とやらも思いつかんな。お前が私のような研究者だったとは思えん。
Are these lies or what? I don't understand this. That answer didn't satisfy me. The guard had acted like he knew who I was, and the woman in the picture had been acting like we were friends.
この人は症候群の人なんですよね。
I pointed at the photo.
この人のこと教えてください。研究をしているのなら知ってるはずですよね。
部外者にそんな簡単に個人情報を教えるわけにはいかない。
部外者じゃないかもしれないじゃないですか。
お前、なぜそこまで知りたがるんだ？
そんなの当たり前です。自分のことですよ。気にしない人なんているはずないです。それに私、たくさんの声を聞いた気がするんです。この写真が貼ってあった部屋の前で。うまく言えないんですけど、とても懐かしい感じがしました。もしも あの声の中にこの人がいるなら、きっと私にとって大事な友達だったはずです。大事な友達のことを知りたいって思うのはいけないことですか？
Ugh. She was glaring at me with a really scary look on her face. Did I go a little too far? But I couldn't help it. It was the truth.
お前、面倒くさいやつだな。百瀬さんがこっちに回してきたのもわかる。
She stood up and went to leave the room as if she was finished talking.
待ってください。
I quickly tried to stop her.
話はまだ。
少しここで待っていろ。教えてもいいのかどうか確認を取る。PC には触れるなよ。
なんだ。
I thought to myself as I was alone in the room.
案外友達いるかもしれないな、あの人。
I was kept waiting for about an hour. Oh, that sucks. Just when I was starting to think that she was making me wait deliberately, she came back into the room. She told me to follow her and to promise that I wouldn't tell anyone what I was about to see.
事前に壁法に忍び込んだという事実が聞いたな。勝手にそんなことをされるくらいならちゃんと教えておこうと言っていたよ。
研究の責任者の方ですか？
まあ責任者には違いないかな。
Kunosada went deeper into the building, then stopped.
ここだ。
She turned around to face me as she put her hand on the door.
ああ、待て。入る前に約束をしろ。口外無用はもちろんだが。
はい。
この中の連中を見て納得したら、今度こそ渋谷には近づくな。
The people inside.
それが、お前の知りたがっていることを教える条件だ。
待ってください。それってどういう。
会えばわかる。
Kunosada opened the door without waiting for my answer.